Leadership is very, very difficult to teach, very, very difficult to understand. And therefore, as an industry, I'm not just talking about Gannett now, I've been around for 33 years, I can tell you it isn't something that we talk a lot about. We assume too much, right? And in each individual that we have, currently 20,000 employees, right? It is my hope and my vision to instill it in every single employee. Management is a science, right? We teach it as a science. It's very disciplined, right? There's processes and things that you have to go through, and it's very linear in many ways, from beginning to end. Leadership, as you'll find out from Google, a little bit more difficult. Yes, 644 million hits, but far fewer than management. It's hard. You can't touch it. You can't feel it. You can sense it, and you can always quickly identify it. If we as an industry are going to transform properly, if that's going to happen, I predict it will not be about the merits of our management, but about the success of our leadership. That's the story that's going to be written. Aren't you glad you sat in front? That's going to be the story. C is cost. C is cost. Cost is a perception of price. P is price. $1 is $1 is $1. No, it's a constant in theory. It's a constant. It doesn't change. It's one. And value is that ever-elusive perception that customers have of the products and services and the relationships that we put forth to them. So here's the quick question tonight, the only math quiz I'm going to give you. In order for the perceived cost, right, to go down in this equation, what has to be happening to value? Going up. Good. We're done with the tests. Have you ever played on a sports team, right? There's a difference between those that say they want to win and play like it, and those that say they hate to lose and play like it. It's night and day. Surround yourself, folks, with people who hate to lose. Leaders are focusing on developing others as teams. And the thing about leaders is they're trying to change the culture at the same time that we achieve our goals. Leaders drive you crazy. You know, when I came up as a young manager, back in 1890, the wonderful thing about it was there was one generation in the room. One. Inside our buildings today, we're often managing and leading 4 different generations now. And by the way, more diverse, more bilingual. It's fantastic, but it's a challenge. It is a challenge. And by the way, our communities are like that too, inside and outside of our building. So up and down an organization, you know that side-by-side thing? Easier said than done. When the young man or woman next to you is a millennial and you're a baby boomer, do you talk the same language? Are the same things important to you? When you hear communications, are you interpreting it the same way? Of course not. Do you know what makes it hard? Because leaders actually have to get out of their office and say that same inspiring, encouraging message 4 different ways, and I mean it. Because when I talk to you, it's very different than when I talk to my group controller. I'm sorry, Don, I'm picking on you twice. It's hard work. Communications is hard work. But if you want to inspire a workforce, you better be prepared to do that. We need leaders not to be afraid. Not to be afraid. Risks. A lot of people think risks come up here and risk-taking come up here. I think it's here, man. Where courage is. It sits right next to courage. It's in your heart. It's in your spirit. And when courage fails you and you're afraid, it doesn't matter what your brain is thinking. Don't be like that. We create our own destiny. I don't care if you're managing 2 or 200. Why don't we create an organization that people want to come work for? And whose job is that? Let's empower people to create those environments. That's what leaders do. They understand this well. Managers, wait for the memo. Leaders say, have at it. Have at it. That is where I think the seed of creativity and innovation comes from. It's not from a blank, boring conference room. It's in the environment that we create as leaders. If you've been in a meeting, I mean this, if you've been in meetings over the last 2 months and nobody has disagreed with you, you have not created the environment of leadership. You haven't, and I see it all too often. We better learn how to take a punch. Learn how to, look at this nose, learn how to take a punch. Because it's coming. And we in my industry, we know it best. There's lines and miles of naysayers, man. They're lined up, and they all have an opinion about us, and I don't listen to them for a second, and they can throw all the punches they want. Bring them on. In 2015, 200 journalists have been thrown in prison. 71 have been killed. Over 1,000 journalists have been killed over the last decade. Can you name any of them? We don't care. Nobody sheds a tear. I do. Because I happen to believe that when a journalist pursuing the truth gets killed, maimed, raped, jostled, sued, when any of that happens, then I believe a little bit of our democracy dies as well. It scares me. I have people tell me all the time, or sometimes, especially those that are cranky against my editorial page, that I hope you die and go away, and I say you will loathe the day that that happens. Because if you think freedom, if you think communications and investigative story comes about through your local radio stations, good luck. What we do matters. So, guys, what I want more than anything right now is 20 years from now, 10 years from now, I don't know when the day will come, but I want to be on a pedestal somewhere, arm in arm with a whole bunch of people, holding up their mobile phones, reciting in the loudest possible way they can. A chorus of leadership that says and screams in unity. Press, speech, religion, petition, and assembly. And then maybe I'll sleep better at night. You've been a great audience. Thanks for listening. Thank you very much.